Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I have to tell you, the moment I heard this latest General Hospital spoiler, I couldn't help but shake my head and think, well, here we go again. Just when I thought the dust was finally settling, after all the heartbreak, another emotional storm started rolling into Port Charles. And if there's one thing I've learned from watching this show all these years, it's that peace never sticks around for very long. The minute someone says they're ready to move on, trouble comes knocking on the front door. What really caught my attention wasn't Michael getting angry or Tracy worrying about another family disaster. It was Michael's confidence that he already knows exactly how Willow thinks. Honestly, I can see why he feels that way. After everything they've been through together, he probably recognizes the warning signs before anyone else does. Down here, we'd say, that dog won't hunt whenever someone tries to convince us everything is fine when it clearly isn't. Michael doesn't believe Willow is simply starting a new chapter in her life. He believes she's about to chase after Harrison Chase with even more determination now that her marriage is officially over. The more I think about it, the more I believe Michael isn't just speaking out of jealousy. He's looking at Willow's pattern. She's never seemed comfortable standing alone for very long, and now that the divorce is becoming official, all those barriers that once held her back have disappeared. She no longer has to worry about people accusing her of cheating on Drew, especially since both of them wanted the divorce. She can tell herself and everyone else that they're simply two people going their separate ways. That kind of freedom can change the way a person makes decisions, and sometimes not for the better. What really makes me nervous is the position Chase and Brook Lynn are in right now. Tracy may finally be breathing a little easier after seeing Chase put Brook Lynn and little Phoebe first. But if I've learned anything from watching this soap over the years, it's never celebrate too early. Port Charles has a funny way of testing every relationship the moment it starts looking solid. Just when everyone thinks a marriage is safe, something or someone comes along to shake the foundation. And that's exactly why I can't ignore Willow in this situation. When she wants something badly enough, she's proven she can be surprisingly clever and incredibly persistent. I wouldn't be shocked if she convinces herself that Chase is the one person she should have ended up with all along. Once that idea gets planted in her mind, I can easily imagine her making it her personal mission to pull him away from Brook Lynn. Bless her heart, Brook Lynn may think the hardest part is behind her, but from where I'm sitting, this fight may just be getting started. The more I sit with this storyline, the more I find myself looking at Chase instead of Willow. Sure, Willow may be the one making bold moves, but Chase is the one standing right in the middle of the storm. He has made it crystal clear that Brook Lynn and little Phoebe are his family now, and I truly believe he means every word. Chase has never struck me as a man who makes promises lightly. When he gives someone his word, he genuinely wants to keep it. The problem is that life in Port Charles has a way of putting good people into impossible situations. That's why I can't help thinking that Chase's biggest challenge isn't going to be choosing between two women. It's going to be figuring out where compassion ends and emotional attachment begins. I've watched Chase for years, and one thing has never changed. He has an instinct to protect people who are struggling. That's one of the reasons fans have always respected him. He doesn't walk away when someone is hurting. He steps in, he listens, he offers support, he tries to fix what everyone else has given up on. Most of the time, that's a wonderful quality. But every now and then, that same kindness becomes the doorway to trouble. As the old saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. I swear that saying could have been written specifically for Port Charles. Now think about everything Willow is carrying on her shoulders. Her marriage has officially fallen apart. She's still dealing with the emotional fallout of the custody fight with Michael. Her reputation has taken one hit after another, and there are still plenty of people who don't trust her motives. Whether she's responsible for every bit of that criticism or not is almost beside the point. The important thing is that she sees herself as someone who's constantly under attack. If Chase notices that pain, and we all know he will, it's hard for me to believe he'll simply turn his back and walk away. Then there's Drew. That's another piece of this puzzle I just can't ignore. Even if the blackmail situation seems settled for now, does anyone honestly believe Drew is finished? I certainly don't. If Drew decides that losing control isn't something he can accept, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts looking for quieter, more calculated ways to strike back. Revenge doesn't always come with shouting and dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it comes wrapped in patience, waiting for exactly the right moment to hit where it hurts the most. If Drew makes Willow's life miserable again, Chase could find himself pulled into the middle without even realizing what's happening. He wouldn't need romantic feelings to justify helping her. His conscience alone would push him in that direction. He'd tell himself he's simply doing the right thing. He'd remind everyone that nobody deserves to be bullied or manipulated. And honestly, I'd probably agree with him. But here's the problem. Brook Lynn may not see it that way. From Brook Lynn's point of view, every extra phone call, every unexpected visit, every conversation behind closed doors could feel like another crack forming in her marriage. Trust doesn't usually disappear overnight. It fades little by little. One misunderstanding becomes two. One secret becomes another. Before long, two people who love each other start asking questions they never thought they'd have to ask. The custody battle with Michael only makes everything more complicated. That fight isn't just about legal paperwork. It's emotional. It's deeply personal. If Willow continues feeling like she's standing alone against Michael, Chase may once again become the person she leans on. He's familiar. He's safe. He understands her history better than most people ever could. Sometimes emotional dependence sneaks up on people before they even recognize it. They convince themselves they're just supporting a friend. But feelings have a habit of growing in the quiet moments no one else sees. What worries me even more is that Chase is still making decisions without knowing the complete truth about Brook Lynn. That's a dangerous place for any marriage to be. He already knows Brook Lynn played a role in setting Willow up, and that revelation alone wasn't easy for him to process. But he still doesn't know she was the one who fled the scene after Jordan Ashford's accident. That's not some tiny detail that can be brushed aside. That's the kind of secret capable of changing how someone looks at the person they married. I've watched enough soap operas to know that hidden truths almost never stay buried forever. In fact, I'd bet $1 to a donut that this secret comes out at the worst possible time. Imagine Chase discovering the truth while Willow is simultaneously leaning on him for emotional support. Suddenly, his confidence in Brook Lynn starts to crumble just as Willow appears to be the one person who understands him. That's exactly how emotional triangles begin. They rarely start with passion. They usually begin with disappointment, confusion, and someone being there at precisely the right or wrong moment. Then we have the adoption journey. If you've ever watched couples go through that process on daytime television, you know it isn't easy. It's filled with stress, uncertainty, paperwork, emotional highs, and heartbreaking setbacks. Even couples with rock-solid relationships can find themselves arguing under that kind of pressure. Brook Lynn and Chase already have enough on their plates without adding family secrets and Willow's growing presence into the mix. I also keep wondering whether Willow has reached the point where she stops waiting for life to happen and starts making things happen herself. That's what makes this spoiler so interesting to me. Instead of simply hoping Chase notices her again, she may decide to actively create opportunities to be around him. Maybe she'll offer emotional support when his marriage begins showing cracks. Maybe she'll remind him of happier memories from their own relationship. Maybe she'll convince herself she's helping him when, deep down, she's slowly pulling him away from Brook Lynn. Willow has shown before that when she believes she's fighting for love, she can become remarkably determined. And let's not forget one very important detail. Chase and Willow weren't just dating once upon a time. They were husband and wife. That history matters. They shared dreams together. They imagined a future together before life pulled them in different directions. Those memories don't simply disappear because years have passed. Sometimes old love feels familiar in a way that new love never quite can. If Willow starts looking back instead of forward, I can absolutely imagine her convincing herself that she and Chase deserve another chance. The scary part is that people often rewrite history in their minds. They remember the beautiful moments while forgetting the painful ones. Willow could easily begin believing that if circumstances had been different, she and Chase would still be together today. Once someone starts telling themselves that story, it's a very short step toward believing they should fight to get that life back. By the time I put all these pieces together, I can't shake the feeling that this storyline is about much more than simple jealousy. It feels like unfinished emotions, hidden secrets, guilty consciences, and impossible choices all crashing together at once. Every character has something to lose, and that's exactly what makes this spoiler so fascinating to me. If my instincts are right, Willow isn't going to quietly accept that Chase belongs to someone else. I think she's going to convince herself that fate is giving her one last opportunity to reclaim the man she once called her husband. Whether Chase gives in or stands firm is another question entirely, but I honestly believe his marriage is about to face the greatest test it's ever seen. And if there's one lesson General Hospital has taught me after all these years, it's this. The biggest heartbreaks don't usually begin with a kiss. They begin with sympathy, old memories, and one person believing they can handle temptation without getting burned. That's why I'll be watching these next episodes very closely, because I have a strong feeling this story is heading toward an emotional explosion that could leave every one of these characters changed forever.